Well, good morning from the ridge.
Good morning.
How y'all doing? Gosh, it's a perfect morning.
It is. This.
Like the temperature is just nice. There's no wind. You can hear the birds.
These are them perfect early summer, late spring mornings where you don't wake up and have to chew the air before you breathe it.
Yeah.
It's not even cool at all, but it's one of those that you could still start working and not get horribly sweaty. The sun isn't at its full
height yet.
Yeah. But I don't know. I was reading online because it seemed kind of hazy.
Well, there's wildfires
in Canada
somewhere,
and they said that that's what it's from is
like this morning when I got up, the sun was rising and it was like red. It was this I don't know, coolest thing, but I mean, it's not cool that there's.
And then I think, isn't it tonight? They're supposed to have
Aurora Borealis or
some
magnetic thing,
scientific stuffs.
I don't know, but
sparklers in the sky.
Yeah, just picking up from our last coffee chat, guys. I was having a struggling moment and took about a week where I really didn't film. So there's, quite a bit coming out with just Jason. But in that time, we've hit it hard. We have worked nonstop, and it kind of put me in a better headspace that it's starting to look beautiful again. I don't know, when things are cleaned up and you've worked hard, and just kind of took a break, it just turned out like I'm loving it.
We've barely let our heads hit the pillow when we were already asleep.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, we thrive on being able to get that, and we've talked about that before of living this lifestyle and the way that we live and just who we are in general. To go to bed exhausted from physical exhaustion is a way better sleep than any kind of mental exhaustion. And then when you compound those, though, that's where the challenge came in, and why we did the last coffee chat the way we did was being stuck inside. Like, the best I could relate it to is like cabin fever. Not to the full extent.
For you, maybe.
But,
I mean, obviously I was going through, a lot more junk. But, just taking that break and clearing my mind. And y'all's comments were amazing and supportive. And, I had to explain in a few comments that, this is our talkie channel. For those that didn't know that we have a main channel, White Rock Homestead. And this is where we come to vent. This is where we come to just talk whatever's on our minds. And it's not clickbaiting. It's not, this is our therapy, kind of. Some people pay for a therapist. We have all you lovely people.
Right.
And, if you're not looking for this kind of content, where you just want to see people being real, then go follow us on the White Rock Homestead channel. You're going to see the work. You're going to see what we're doing. Yeah. This is just kind of our time and our place to, that's why we created this channel, was just so we could sit and talk whatever's on our minds, talk about the challenges, talk about the joys, talk about the successes. And this video is about the successes because...
yesterday was super successful.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So since the last coffee chat, I had to process every single thing that was in the freezer left over from last year's harvest. 2 full days nonstop, morning, noon, and night, processing and canning everything that was in the freezers. And it's so phenomenal, to have all that product, all that stuff. So that gives you a boost, right? You're feeling productive because that's something that, when you have a task that you leave undone, it doesn't just go away in my mind. It just sits there and it pokes at you. And it never goes away. I'm still here. You need to deal with me. You need to deal with me. And so it just adds a stressor. So to be able to get that knocked out of the way.
Well, and it had to be. It was one of those that our hand was forced, which it was in a good way, of needing to get all of them tomatoes from last year's harvest that were just in the freezer frozen, unprocessed, because we need the freezer space. And we've been talking, it's not that we haven't wanted to get it all processed and done, but
we had travel, we had this,
there's
that.
you know, we can throw 9 million excuses at it and the reasons why, but you know, the thing is, it's just other things were pressing and more important and mandatory, but because of yesterday,
yes,
we had to get that done, you know, prior to.
And we didn't film yesterday, but we've talked about it a few times in our lives. So we had 46 meat birds? 45 meat birds to process. And we were always work with Tilted K. Eric and Missy are super good friends of ours. They have their homestead channel, Tilted K, and we've been doing meat birds together for 2 years now. And we're a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
We've got it down. On the main channel, you saw Jason had built a new kill station. I bought the large kill cones because the reviews said, oh, the mediums aren't big enough for meat birds. And we think that the mediums probably would have been fine. So, but they worked out great.
Yeah, there was a couple of our birds that
were on the
probably
side.
might not have fit in the medium. But then there was quite a few that were smaller. Now, we end up getting, and this has been our discussion, right, was we get birds, right? We make one large order with Eric and Missy, and we split it 50-50. Hey, you know.
Because the more you buy, the cheaper they are.
Right. And it also gives us a comparison of our two different styles of raising the birds to where they're in a chicken tractor and can actually move them daily or multiple times a day if needed, where they're getting grass and they're in there and they're doing that type of stuff. Now, this batch, they did end up
deep litter method.
A little bit, yeah.
Half and half.
Towards the end, they ran out of grass. It just didn't come back the way that it had in the years prior. So they ended up throwing some hay down, which at first I was like, why would you waste hay? But the common sense part is, right, in that hay are seeds. Those seeds are going to drop with the chicken manure. It's going to fertilize. So he's going to start getting regrowth between now and when he wants to run the next birds. As to where we don't really have that option.
We have rocks.
We moved our birds once.
Yeah.
And that was such a fiasco. We still are developing a better chicken tractor, or at least modifications
what
to
worked
the one
for
we
me
have.
up north on my homestead up north, completely different topography.
Yeah.
I had flat land forever.
Well, flat and fertile.
Flat and flat. Say that 10 times. Flat and fertile. So trying out different methods, because what worked down, same way with gardening. What worked up there doesn't necessarily work here.
Right.
And it even is different, even though Eric and Missy and us are both in Arkansas, two completely different lands.
Oh, yeah.
Just an hour apart, right? Anyway, long story short, we got all the birds processed, and I kept one sweet little hen. I'm going to try something. There's a couple groups I belong to on Facebook, and the topic is about your Cornish crosses, right? And how expensive the Cornish cross chicks have become. And so, for a long time in the homesteading community, Freedom Rangers were thought to be the answer, right? They are the answer to the Cornish cross dilemma and not being able to raise your own meat birds, right? And everyone got into the Freedom Rangers. I'm not dogging the Freedom Ranger lovers. We had Freedom Rangers.
Yeah.
They're not heat tolerant. They're not cold hardy. The first warm day above 80, we lose 6.
Something
it was
like that,
stupid.
Yeah, for them to be a dual-purpose bird, and that's why they say they're the homesteaders bird, is they are an egg layer, not as prolific as the Isis. Yeah.
This is stupid.
But then you can also raise them out to be meat birds, and like she said, for us in our environment here, and they're shaded. That was the thing. I was like, we thought maybe we lost into heat because, the temperature itself and the humidity. But that chicken run,
It's huge
in the summer,
for that amount of birds.
It is, but it's also very shaded. And we purposely left trees in there to do that, and they just didn't hold up.
No, we lost so many birds.
Yeah.
It was just distressing. So anyway.
Back to your experiment.
Yeah, back to my experiment. In these chicken groups that I belong to, there's kind of this ongoing saga or experiment that many homesteaders are attempting to do because of the high cost of Cornish crosses. And they keep, I wish we were going to try to keep 2, but the last 2 birds, one was a hen, one was a rooster.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to do that. Anyway, here's the theory. And I don't know, there's going to be a half an hour. Oh, that'll never work. And then, oh, hey, that's a great idea. We'll try it too. Kind of me. So we kept a little hen, and you ration their feed, right? So that they don't get the heart disease and, their lungs fail and everything. They don't grow so big they break their legs. You kind of ration that off. You get them to egg production, and then you let them do their thing with the rooster, and then you get an incubator and hatch out a bird. It's not going to be a Cornish cross, because that in and of itself
it'll be a cross of a Cornish cross.
Kind of. It'll be a larger bird than what your standard breeds are going to produce. And the grow time, based on other people's experiments, the grow time is a little longer. Maybe they're going to be like a Freedom Ranger and not have longevity, but I would be fine with that as long as it wasn't labeled as a dual purpose, because we're not looking for egg production. We're looking for our opportunity to hatch out a larger bird that is still going to grow fast, not as fast as Cornish crosses, but be able to kind of reproduce our own batch of birds.
And then it kind of, the idea and the concept behind that is being able to raise those birds up multiple times a year, right? So you're going to get, depending on what they lay, but I mean, if we can get, 8 to 10 to hatch at a time, and then you raise them out for the meat and then process them, it stretches out your meat processing. So like we said yesterday, we ended up doing 44 because we saved that one hen. So we had to butcher and process.
And she's the sweetest hen.
44 meat birds at once. And you're feeding, we were done in a couple hours, guys. It's not like it's a horrible task.
No.
But still, it takes that time. But and then you've got to process all those. So that's where we're at now. We're still letting them set, and we won't touch them. They're on ice in the coolers until tomorrow. Yep. But then you're looking at 3 to 4 days,
4 to 5 days
of processing them out, because we don't save them as whole birds. It's just everybody's got their own preference.
I butcher them out and I piece them out.
Yeah, we like to piece them out. And
I love how we say we.
Well,
we.
I hold the vacuum seal bags and put them in the freezer when you're done with it. But
I love you.
I love you. But yeah, so we do it a little different than others, and I mean you've got to process them and you've got to package them the way you want to do it.
The way you eat.
Right.
And so I will also pre-marinate and season as I'm doing this, right? So whether I'll do multiples of chicken taco and vacuum seal that. And then, I'll cube up the breasts or, whatever. Mesquite, leave them as whole breasts, but have them seasoned. Italian, Parmesan, you name it.
And that's the best
I do that as I'm going.
Yeah.
And
the
when
best
I'm
part
processing.
of knowing what we eat and what meals, because
yeah.
We've done that before, where like you pre-season a whole lot of stuff and you're like, well, we don't even eat it this way. Why did we season it this way? And
very rarely, but yeah.
Yeah, but now we know, hey, these are the versions, the season, and some just stay plain. That way we have the option.
Oh yeah, I do plains. But I'll be like, hey, babe, what sounds good tonight? He'll be like, I don't know. How about Mexican? Awesome, great. And I'll just grab up the taco seasoned chicken out of the freezer and cook it up. We're good to go.
Yeah.
So it does take me several days. And then it doesn't stop there when I'm done piecing out the birds, because then I go into broth making mode. And I can fit 2 carcasses in an 8-quart Instapot, add all the vegetables, add all my herbs, run a 1-hour cycle, and then for each 2 birds I have in the Instapot, carcasses and skins and bones and whatever else, I can get 6 to 7 quarts of broth. Do the math. What was the math you did yesterday?
It was like, I think 100, what was it, 168?
Probably, because after the last batch I had 72
Oh,
quarts.
132.
132, yeah. Because I had 72 quarts of broth made after last year's.
Yeah.
And then this year, we'll double that, because we did double the birds.
But that, and I guess, since, well, I'm notorious for never finishing a thought process, right? So the idea of us raising these, if we can get this Cornish cross experiment to work,
Oh, yeah.
is we can do it in smaller batches throughout the year, and it's not such a bulk chore, right? If you spread it out a little bit at a time throughout the year, you're still going to have the same amount of birds and, you know, the same amount of work, but not all at one time where it's so consuming.
Yeah. And I don't know which way's better, right? Like,
well, no,
spreading
but that's
it
why it's an
out,
experiment.
Yeah, it's an experiment. Is she going to live? I guess we're going to find out. So I called her Little Miss Muffet. She's the sweetest little thing. And once we'd processed all the other birds and she was the last one left, she was in there crying like, where did everybody go?
Yeah.
You know, and then she came right to me when we opened up the coop, and I was able to pick her up, and she was just cooing and cackling, and got her moved over to the Mini Cooper. So she's going to hang out in the Mini Cooper for a couple weeks. And I did have to go out last night, and she had wedged herself between the fence at the cedar tree and the back of the Mini Cooper. So I had to, because she's never been in there. She doesn't know that she's got to go inside of a chicken house.
Right.
So it may take her a little while to learn that, if she learns it at all, or I'll be putting her in. But it is next to the main run. And of course, all of our current chicken flock, they're just mass huddled right next to the fence line, trying to like check out the new girl on the block.
Right.
And it's so funny, but we'll get her acclimated to the rest of the group, and hopefully she'll acclimate to it, and I can raise her like a normal chicken, maybe. I don't know. We don't know. It's an experiment.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and we had gotten from one of the neighbors up around the corner,
2.
a couple years ago now, I guess it was. Yeah. We had gotten a mixed flock. He was getting out of chickens, and
yeah, like 5 or 6.
Yeah, brought us quite a few chickens.
He said they were Rhode Island Reds. No.
Yeah. It was a barnyard mix, but it was funny because 2 of them were Cornish cross. And holy wow, these things grew because they were in with the regular chickens. Yeah. So it wasn't, you weren't pumping them with a high feed or anything. They were just getting their normal, those things were the size of turkeys, yo. Yeah. They were crazy. So we're curious to see.
Because they'd gone kind of like your normal Tractor Supply families that have never had a flock before. And they just go out and their kids picked out their favorite chickens, right? Yeah. Well, that's how they got the 2 Cornish crosses. But they raised them out just like normal chickens.
Yeah.
And we did end up butchering them because I knew that they weren't going to be good for egg layers, and we were interested in the eggs. But holy wow, they were the size of turkeys. But moral of the story, they lived and they were happy clucking around being normal chickens.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of shocked, but it was one of those that if you think about it, right, it makes sense of why they could live so long, because your typical meat bird is, 12 weeks, right?
6 to 8.
6 to 8 weeks that you're going to raise them out, and you're pumping them with feed. Mm-hmm. Like couple, 2-3 times a day, giving them that feed, and they're going to eat it all up. You feed them and then wait an hour, go out there and feed them again, and they'll come in like they haven't ate in a week. But that's what makes them grow so fast. And the idea is not to spend a lot of time having to grow them out. But if you slow that feed down, and I think that that's something that we've kind of noticed between us raising and Eric and Missy doing it, Which we did give them more feed this time because our last batch we did last year, ours were way, way small.
We also gave this one grit. This batch grit.
Yeah, and that made doing the deep litter with it, adding some grit in their feed.
Yeah. It kept their crops going. But the other thing, and this was our mistake when we left for the cruise, was the time that their rations should have increased. I did not relay that information to the kids in Swami.
Right.
So they were still just getting their one scoop in the morning and in the evening. And that should have been the week that they got 2 scoops in the morning and the evening. And so that was on me. I failed to... And when I realized we didn't have cell service on the cruise, so it wasn't anything I could do about it. And they were fine. So they were about a week and a half behind Eric and Missy's birds as far as size goes. So not upset. We are totally thrilled with Stromberg's. These chickens were the best by far of any of, because this is the 3rd different company we got Cornish crosses from. By far, hands down, the best chickens, lowest death rate. We lost 1.
Yeah.
1. I mean, when Eric and Missy picked him up, there was death in the shipment.
Right.
Which is why we only had 46 instead of 50. I think there was like 8 in the first.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So, but once we got him here at the Ridge, we only lost 1.
Right.
Which is huge. And week 3 is really hard on them. Week 3 seems to be, in my experience, all the years raising Cornish crosses, the kind of the week that they go, wah! You know, the growth rate, their hearts just can't take it. But anyway, we didn't mean for this to be a chicken video.
But it is coffee chat with the chickens. We're just coffee chat about the chickens.
Yeah. Mainly wanted to just come back and say, you know, thank you for all the support. We all go through those times in our lives where you just get overwhelmed. And thank you guys for giving me this platform to be able to express that and share that. It's not looking for pity. It's not looking for sympathy. It's just talking it out. And, you know, the huge support of you do what you got to do, Tara. You know, we'll love your videos when they come out. Not a big deal. Take the time. Heal yourself. Do what you need to do. And I did. And thank you for that. It doesn't mean I'm quitting. I just couldn't be on camera for a hot minute, if that makes sense. But we've been back at it. We've been back filming. We've been back building. And we have kicked butt. And I had to strategically place the camera for this coffee chat as so that y'all couldn't see a surprise project right over here. Which is going to be so cool. It's part of a skills collaboration with Mountain Grandma and Simply Jan and Another Time. And they're doing a whole month of skills building collaboration. And then they're going to do a giveaway on July 2nd. It's super cool project. I mean, it's not like it's not a paid collaboration or anything like that. It's basically a bunch of channels committing to one skill a day. And so they've got it scheduled out where every day you can go and get a new skill. Yeah. And great idea, great concept. So my project for that is boop, right over there. Ha. I'm keeping the beans.
Shocker.
Yeah. But it's been fun, and to see the fruits of the labor, it just warms my heart.
So's breakfast.
I know. Yeah. We did it in reverse today.
Yeah.
Because Swami had come down, she needed a shower, and so we didn't do breakfast first. We did coffee chat first.
Yeah.
And then we'll do breakfast. And you're saying you're hungry.
Well, my coffee's gone. So now it's time for breakfast.
Oh. Well, what if I wanted to sit here and talk to the good people for another 10 minutes?
All right, talk to them.
Anyway, guys, the garden's doing great.
It is.
I need to go through and do a heavy pruning on pretty much everything. It's that time. And we're already getting flowers. I'm zucchini'd out the wazoo. Holy wowzers. The whole time I was processing all the tomatoes, I was in conjunction, multitasking, baking umpteen loaves of zucchini breads. regular zucchini bread and blueberry lemon zucchini bread. So, and I didn't even make a dent in my zucchini. So I've got a lot of more baking to do.
I ain't mad at it.
No, me either. And then one of the projects that we need to get on yet is we need to repair the farm stand from getting knocked over in the bad tornadic weather twice. So we need to make some repairs on that. I need to get it to the road because I'm ready. And we could be having squash out. We could be having eggs out. We could be having baked goods out. Did you take a bug?
I don't know what I did, but I mean, I thought I was just going to breathe and swallow. And
No, well, the pollen is really, really bad right now too. But yeah. So we'll want to get on the farm stand, get that out, get that relaunched. What I have it up for 2 days when it got knocked over, or was it even a day?
But we also, I think we were getting ready to leave for one of the trips, and just not being home. But we, as of right now, I mean, the only thing we have Freedom Weekend coming up, the beginning of July, and then we're home for a couple months, just because we do travel a lot.
Well, we made it that way.
and we know that we've got some stuff coming up this fall and winter that we need to make trips up north for and that kind of stuff. So being home now, trying to get the projects done and assessing what needs to be done before winter, because that's how it always works, right? You work in the summer to prep for winter, you work in the winter to prep for summer, it's just...
We'll be having harvest, and so I'm going to be so busy processing everything. So we tried purposefully to scale back our summer travels.
Yeah.
That way we didn't have a freezer full of things. But with that being said, that creates a whole nother need for another project. So that's coming up in videos too, because we've also been working on that. Well, should I share? I mean, it is our coffee chat, people.
I'm not sure which one you're talking about now. You lost me.
All that footage we got doing what we did over here.
That thing?
Yeah, that thing.
Oh.
I mean, it's our coffee chat, people. And if they've watched this far...
You just can't hold it in.
I can't! No. I mean, it's our coffee chat, people.
You can keep repeating it. I mean, if you want to show them.
Well, I'm not going to show them. But I think I could tell them. Right?
Well, the video will be out Tuesday.
No, the video won't be out Tuesday. My surprise project comes out Tuesday.
That's what I thought you were just talking about.
No, I'm talking about that project.
Oh. Now we're going to keep that under wraps.
Oh, dang it. I tried, guys. Maybe next coffee chat. A lot of cool surprise projects coming up. We've been having a lot of air traffic.
Well, that's just a regular plane.
Yeah, yesterday we had helicopters going in the area. We're like, it's got to be that escaped convict. And then, of course, I look on the news this morning, and the picture is the road that they had dogs out right up the road. In fact, I was on it yesterday. So,
yeah,
that's a little spooky. Time to lock the doors and start wearing my gun again. Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to end this because my handsome man's hungry.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you guys for coming along this journey with us. If you want to see more projects, jump on over to White Rock Homestead, and that's where the content is. This is just us talking. So if you're here for that, wonderful. If you want to see more, jump on over.
Yep.
All right, peace out from the ridge.
Bye now.